Hey guys, Jamie Cinq-Mars here, and welcome to Mind Over Matter. And today's topic is a simple topic, and it has to do with, well, feeding your mind the proper food, fuel, if you will. We talk a lot about the things that are required for success, and a lot of it has to do with taking action, and it has to do with building your list and maintaining a list and finessing the list. And there's just a myriad of things that you need to do in order to maintain and achieve high level of success. One of the things that's overlooked by most people who get started or just starting out and just looking to get moving, whether it's online or offline. It doesn't matter if you're running an MLM or if you're running network marketing of any kind, or you're just trying to make it big on the internet. Personal growth is where you have to take a look. You have to step back and look there. I know that for myself personally, there's just been many times in the past where I've had little bumps in the road and little hiccups and times when things just aren't quite going the way I want them to. And each and every time that has happened, when I look back on it now, I stopped reading or listening to audios. I stopped feeding my brain, stopped spending time with the people that I know are moving in the same direction that I am, or in the direction I want to go. Just essentially not spending time in conversation or feeding my mind with healthy information that's moving me in the right direction. I think that it's a very important component to the success mindset. It's just a matter of the laws of association, and as a man thinketh. I talked about this in last week about think and grow rich, and the whole concept of how whatever you're thinking of is where you're going to head, is where you're going to go. They had done a study once about vehicles that had struck telephone poles along a certain stretch of highway. Seemed to be this really bad stretch of highway where people were nailing telephone poles regularly. So they did a study, and what they found telephone poles are pretty far apart. I mean, anybody who's spent any time driving on any highway anywhere in North America, you'll know that there's telephone poles are pretty far apart. So there's a big wide open space between the telephone poles that most vehicles, if they were careening off the highway into the ditch and open field, or forest or bush or wherever they are, that they would miss the telephone poles, much higher percentage. So it struck this team of people who wanted to do the study as significantly odd. So for those that survived major injuries or death, of course. If they survived, and with relatively minor injuries, then they put them through the study. And the study basically asked them one simple question. It all boiled down to, what were you thinking as you were leaving the highway? Like, what was going through your mind? And in 80%, roughly 80%, I don't remember the exact figure, but it's roughly 80% of all the people interviewed had a very similar mind process going through their head as they were leaving the highway and careening towards the place where there would be a telephone pole or an open field. And the phrase was, don't hit the pole, don't hit the pole, don't hit the pole, don't hit the pole, don't hit the pole. That's the constant thing that's running through our mind. Now, it stands to reason that if you say don't hit the pole, you won't hit the pole, because that's what you're trying not to do. But what the powerful concept of what you, as a man thinketh, think and grow rich. As you think, you shall do. Do not hit the pole, do not hit the pole. So now all you're thinking about is the pole, the pole, the pole, the pole, the pole. Even though you're trying to say don't hit it, the pole, the pole, the pole. Your entire body will actually move you towards the pole. Here's open field. Pole's here. I'm coming off the highway, and here's where I want to go, but I keep telling my body and my brain and everything about what I'm doing, don't hit the pole, 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 crash. Do you see how powerful that is? 80%. Same thought. Don't hit the pole. They told their body don't hit the pole, but their actions, their entire body just followed along and brought them to the pole. It's no different in success, in business, in friendships, relationships, marriages, whatever, everything. It's all the same. As you think, you will be. So if you're associating yourself with people that are constantly negative, and if you're associating yourself with books that are fluff, if you're not listening to audio, or you're listening to news radio or talk radio, especially talk radio. Talk radio is horrible. I used to listen to a lot of talk radio. Horrible. All they're doing there is trying to incite some sort of reaction. The one show that I used to listen to late at night, it actually, one of the things it said in the sort of, I guess, the recorded audio that rolls when the commercials are on, if you disagree with what we're talking about on this program, please call in. So they encourage you to fight. That's essentially. So I mean, if you're associating with bad fuel, then you're going to get bad fuel out. Okay, so it's a gut check time, and it's time to take a look at what it is that you're reading now. Who are you associating with? Who are you spending most of your time with? Where are you getting your advice from? You know, some of the important books that you read, you won't find a single person that you're looking up to for mentorship, or looking up to for guidance, or any kind of training that hasn't had their nose buried in a bunch of very high quality success books, personal growth books, or audios. I have a very good friend of mine who he started his own business, and it was in a production environment style business, but because he started it, he was the only employee. He was the business. So he basically was doing the job of 3 to 4 people, and the place and the location of the production environment was actually about a 45 to 50 minute drive away from the major city that he lived in. So he spent a lot of time on the highway, driving back and forth, doing production and bringing in products so he could deliver to his customers, etc. So he was the chief creator and chef, baker. Then he was also he was the production guy. He was packaging, and then he was delivery. And he took the orders, and he managed the inventory, and so he was everything, right? So he did that for a number of years. But during those years, on his drive out and drive in, non-stop audios. When he was in production, by himself, nobody else around, just him, he had earbuds in his media player, whether cell phone or what have you, playing audiobooks. Constant fuel. Just keep fueling his brain. Well, after he got to a number of years in the business, and it just wasn't moving in the direction he wanted to move, and it was taking him away from his goals in life, he decided that he was going to shut it down and move on. And what he gained from that is all of those years of fantastic fuel that he's put into his mind to give him the empowerment to actually make a decision to say, you know what, I'm going to shut down this business and I'm going to go this way so that I can stay on track. It takes a lot of guts, because he had to walk away from a business that, he had debts and leases and all kinds of other crazy stuff that he had to get rid of. I mean, this is a offline business that had there's capital, there's liens, loans, all kinds of crazy stuff involved. So it took a lot of guts for him to take a step back. It was personal injury that actually brought it all to a grinding halt, because he was everything to the whole business. He was the business. When his back went out, he was done. So he had to decide if he was going to hire somebody and maintain the business, or if he was going to shut it down. So he got to a point where he said, you know what, I decided I'm going to shut it down. I have a lot more to give, and I have a lot more to offer from a mind standpoint than I do from production of perishable goods, right? So he stepped away. But he had been feeding his brain daily and feeding his mind. So I ask you this, and I mean, this is, I guess I'm almost wrapping things up. This is a shorter version of Mind Over Matter than usual, but I'll probably ramble on a little bit longer. But the point is that I need to challenge you to take a look at your reading material. If all you're reading is fiction, and it's almost, reading fiction is not much different than watching TV. Pardon me, I thought I was going to sneeze. Sorry guys, I thought I was going to sneeze there. Didn't work. Didn't happen. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Reading fiction is a lot like watching TV. People may say, "Oh, I don't watch a lot of TV," but if you read a lot of fiction, you're just pouring hours and hours of time into something that is never going to give you anything back. Sure, it gets you lost in the little fantasy world for a little while, but it's not really growing you. And for those of you who are taking the time to watch this video, you are obviously people that are in a place where you want to grow. So therefore, the fiction and the TV isn't really in line with what you want, right? So anyway, take a look at your library. And if you don't have a library, you need to start getting one. Whether it's, every couple of weeks when you get a paycheck, you go and buy one book. Or once a week you go buy one book. Or once a month you buy one book. Borrow some books. Go to the library. The library has lots of the books. Check with your, mentor or your, whoever it is that you are working with specifically. Get in touch with them about books that they could start with. It'd probably be a good idea to have somebody recommend a book that you can start with, because there is a lot of material out there. Audios, very important. Jim Rohn, I would put you on to a Jim Rohn audio in a heartbeat if you can get your hands on one. There's tons of stuff on the internet. There's tons of stuff out there you can get your hands on. But you need to be listening to some good stuff that fuels your brain so that you can function. It'll move you forward faster. It will, without question, it'll move you forward faster. I mentioned before that I've had some different times in my life where things aren't going as good, and I've noticed that during those times I'm not paying much attention to what I'm reading, what I'm listening to. I also can tell you, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that the moment that I flipped over and started reading again daily, 30 minutes a day minimum, and listening to audios in my car, everything going on in my life comes back to center and starts to move in the right direction again. I don't feel like as much chaos. I don't feel as much like there's things going on that I can't control, because I feel like I'm in control of me again. Therefore, I can control what direction I'm going. And it's really just because I was allowing my thoughts to be influenced by the surroundings. Well, I say allowing. I'll take that back. We all, without question, are influenced by our surroundings, whether we want to be or not. Dennis Waitley, author of The Psychology of Winning, I can quote him as saying, take a look at your friends and you'll see your future. And for some people that's might be a scary sight, but the fact remains is that whatever you allow yourself to be a part of, you will become. So if your group, if the network of people that you spend the most amount of time with, that's not to say that you can't go hang out with your buddies and have a beer. What I'm saying is that the people that you spend the most amount of time with, if they're not in line with where you want to go, you're not getting there. Now, maybe you don't know this large group of network people, but here's what I'm saying. Just back here for a second. I think off the top of my head, I get a couple of these books here. Right? We got Darren Hardy. We got John C. Maxwell. See, these guys are in my, they're in my, inside my big circle, right? I don't know Darren Hardy. I don't know John C. Maxwell. Or Jim Rohn, or Jim Rohn's passed away, but I don't know these people. But they do influence me, because I spend time with them in audios. I spend time with them reading. So if you're not spending time with Darren Hardy, if you're not spending time with John C. Maxwell, if you're not spending time with Simon Sinek, if you're not spending time with Joe Rubino, if you're not spending time with David Schwartz, Magic of Thinking Big, if you're not spending time with these people, then you're spending time with somebody else. You're spending too much time with Stephen King? I don't know. It's not to say you can't read a Stephen King novel. However, you shouldn't be reading a Stephen King novel every day if your plan is to have success. Because Stephen King won't teach you how to have success. This guy will. Maybe you should just spend some time with Darren Hardy, publisher of Success Magazine. Sounds like a guy I might want to spend some time with. I actually saw him speak live, and this is actually personally signed. Right there. Right? I travel to go and spend time with Darren Hardy. Do I sit down and have tea with Darren Hardy? No, I don't. But I sit down in the audience and I take on the information. I absorb it. I feed my brain. I let him be a part of the circle of influence. So when I say take a look at your friends and you'll see your future, that doesn't necessarily mean take a look at the people that you're sitting with across from the table. It means, who am I spending time? Take a look around, look at my friends. There's Darren and John and David Schwartz, and that's some pretty good friends. I can see my future through that because they're going to help me get that. Embrace and empower your team. The 17 indisputable laws of teamwork. John C. Maxwell. He also has the irrefutable laws of leadership. John C. Maxwell has a lot of great books. But anyway, those are a number of different authors that I can think of off the top of my head that you guys can start to look at. But I mean, again, I would counsel with somebody to see where you should start if you have nowhere to start, because we can cut the time down. Because I know that in a lot of cases, some of the entrepreneurs out there that have sort of cut the trail for us. They've spent their hard-earned money and time on all kinds of books. Some of them duds, some of them not duds. The other thing you can read, these are specific books about personal growth. The other books that I would recommend you put your time into would be biographies of people who have had success. Like Ray Kroc or Sam Walton, the guy who, the CEO of Starbucks. Avon, the Avon Story. That's actually a really good book. Any of those types of books where it's almost it's a biography of the people who have gone from here to here through various ups and downs and found success. Those kinds of things will help teach you what kind of mindset, teach you what kind of vision you need to have in order to get to where you're going. Right? So you need to be in a constant state of building that knowledge base of what do I need to do, how do I need to think, and how do I form the vision, right? And how do I make adjustments on the path? How do I change direction? Those are things you're going to learn from the people that you surround yourself with. If you happen to know some people live and in the world that you live in the city that you live in, that are successful business owners, franchise owners, self-made millionaires, any of those kinds of things. If you can put yourself into a room with them once a month to have coffee, if they have to travel for part of their business, and it's usually they just drive for a few hours to whatever location and back, and you can find your way into that car and just travel with them for a couple of hours. You don't necessarily need to be a part of anything they're doing when you get to the other end, and they may spend a couple hours doing whatever they do, and then you drive back with them. Those 4 hours in the car with a multi-millionaire or successful business owner or et cetera, that can teach you something about what you need to know in order to get to where you want to go. Constantly feed your brain. Alright? If it's garbage in, garbage out. It's just like any kind of computer. You put garbage into your brain, you're going to get garbage out of your brain. You surround yourself and your brain and your energy with garbage, you're going to end up with garbage energy, garbage information, garbage attitude, garbage everything. So, choice is yours, guys. So I think it's time to just reevaluate your input. What are you putting into your brain? How's it getting there? And are you setting yourself up for success? I hope you enjoyed today's installment of Mind Over Matter. I look forward to talking to you again next week. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Bye now. Pardon my crashing around. I'll say bye again. I tried to grab the mouse and threw it across the room. So anyway, have yourself a great day. Bye.